Nancy Pelosi threatens to impeach Trump if he does not resign immediately, with talk of invoking the 25th Amendment, the 25th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution to remove Donald Trump from office, with that gaining little traction among Vice President Mike Pence and the cabinet. Democrats now appear ready to make Trump the first president to be impeached twice. We saw that Betsy DeVos has resigned. Secretary of Miseducation Betsy DeVos has resigned. She did that with just 13 days to go. And then also Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao, who is Mitch McConnell's wife, she resigned as well. Their votes would be needed to vote to remove Trump from office through the 25th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. So because Mike Pence is not on board with that, Vice President Mike Pence, they're moving to impeachment, and there's also a growing calls for Donald Trump to resign from office as well. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, in a letter to colleagues, demanded Republicans, quote, call on Trump to depart his office immediately. Depart his office immediately. Nancy Pelosi added that if the president does not leave office imminently and willingly, the Congress will proceed with impeachment. Now, with 12 days left in Donald Trump's term, there's not much time left to impeach him again. But if Trump were to be convicted in the U.S. Senate, Congress could then disqualify him from holding federal office ever again for the rest of his life, ending any hope he has of running for president again in 2024. But convincing Donald Trump would still require convicting Trump would still require a 2/3 majority vote in the U.S. Senate, a supermajority in the Senate, which is an uphill climb for Democrats. Though Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska today became the first Republican senator to say he is open to the idea, then we saw Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska she said that Trump has to go also. Now, Washington Post is reporting GOP Senator Lisa Murkowski says Trump should leave office now. In a scathing rebuke, Senator Lisa Murkowski, Republican of Alaska, became the first GOP senator to call for him to step down before his presidency ends, and said Wednesday's attack on the U.S. Capitol is making her rethink being a Republican. Now, Lisa Murkowski, along with the other Republicans in the Senate, who to me are traitors to the Union because they violated their oath to defend the Constitution against enemies, both foreign and domestic, when in February 2020, during the impeachment trial, they had the chance to remove the traitor-in-chief from office, and they didn't do it. Now, the only one who showed some courage under fire was Mitt Romney of Utah, senator from Utah, Republican Mitt Romney, and he only voted on 1 out of 2 articles of impeachment, but at least he voted on 1. The rest did not. They said, oh, they thought Trump had learned his lesson and he was going to be a good boy. He wasn't going to do it. And the only thing he learned is that he could get away with it. The only thing he learned is that you're cowards and he can get away with it. So now, with 12, 13 days left, now all of a sudden, they went to Amazon.com and bought a spine. Now they're showing a backbone after they saw an insurrection, after they saw sedition, after they saw Trump loyalists, Trump supporters invading the U.S. Capitol to interrupt and disrupt the certification of the Electoral College votes, which is mandated by the U.S. Constitution. Now, all of a sudden, you realize, we made a mistake. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Now, personally, every last one of them, I told you this before, and even the Lincoln Project has said this. Every last one of those traitors, those Republicans who did in the Senate, who did not vote to remove him from office, to me, they should never hold elected office again because they violated their oath to defend the U.S. Constitution against enemies both foreign and domestic. You have an enemy to the U.S. Constitution sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue right now. You had the opportunity. Not only that, we're looking at 4,000 coronavirus deaths. The U.S. surpassed 4,000 coronavirus deaths in one day for the first time. It was on Thursday, January 7th. Okay. And today we're at, I think it's for Friday, I think it's over 4,000 as well. All right. Now, here's the thing. They're going into Friday, so I saw the count 4,100. So we're looking at this huge, we're looking at a record number of one-day deaths. We're looking at 360,000 coronavirus deaths in total. Let's see, U.S. reports more than 4,000 COVID-19 deaths in a single day. With the nation still reeling from the attack on the U.S. Capitol, the U.S. reported on Thursday, January 7th, that Thursday was the deadliest day yet in the coronavirus crisis, with a staggering 4,110 lives lost in one day. There were also 268,883 new cases of COVID-19 reported on Thursday, breaking the record for the second consecutive day of a record of single-day cases. We see 21.7 million reported cases of coronavirus, and we had about 360,000 deaths, 366,000 deaths. Well, if Trump had been removed from office in early February 2020, you realize a lot of those tens of thousands of those people would still be alive right now, if not the majority of them, because Pence would have done a much better job getting coronavirus under control than Trump. I'm telling you right now, Pence is terrible, but he would have done a much better job of getting coronavirus under control than Trump. It was when you go look at what the governors had to go through to get the PPE equipment, to get the ventilators, things like this. Many of the governors had to go to Mike Pence, to get that because they couldn't get it from Trump. When you go research this, many of them had to go to Pence because Pence is a former governor of Indiana. Even though he did a bad job when it came to fight HIV there, he still understands what it means to be a governor and what governors go through. So a lot of the governors had to contact Pence to get what they need, because they couldn't get it from Trump. Trump wanted to play politics, give resources to Republican states, give resources to states that have Republican governors, not give it to Democratic states. Okay, so they had the chance to remove Trump from office in February 2020 and save tens of thousands of lives, and they didn't do it because they were cowards. They were afraid of backlash from his supporters. They were afraid of being primary, those who were up for re-election November 3rd, 2020 election. He would support challenges against them, all types of nonsense, just cowards. But Lisa Murkowski has a spine now. She says, I want him to resign. I want him out. He has caused enough damage. Lisa Murkowski told the Anchorage Daily News in an interview. When did you come to that conclusion? He caused so much damage. Was it when his thugs were in the U.S. Capitol building and you felt threatened and thought you were going to lose your life? Is that when you realized he caused so much damage? Quote, I think he should leave. He said he's not going to show up. He's not going to appear at the inauguration. Now, I was clapping when he said he wasn't going to appear at the inauguration. You know, I mean, I think a lot of people don't want to show up. Even Joe Biden said today, he said, look, it's good after what happened Wednesday, it's best that he doesn't show up. He hasn't focused on what is going on with COVID. Lisa Murkowski said, senator from Alaska, Republican. He's either been golfing or he's been inside the Oval Office fuming and throwing every single person who has been loyal and faithful to him under the bus, starting with the vice president. She continued. Well, we most people who study politics said he's going to turn on all these people. Most people who study politics said he's going to, soon as you cross him, soon as you do the right thing, soon as you do something he doesn't want you to do, he's going to turn on you. That's how he is. We've seen that for 4 years. Why are you surprised? Quote, he doesn't want to stay there. He only wants to stay there for the title. He only wants to stay there for his ego. He needs to get out. We can make a new movie. We can make a sequel to Get Out called Get Out the White House, starring Donald Trump. The horror movie Get Out. We can make a sequel called Get Out the White House, starring Donald Trump. This would be a real horror film, right? Get Out the White House, sponsored by the Jim, James, Paul, and Tyrone Moving Company. Call 1-866, call Tyrone. They'll help you come pack your stuff. Use promo code #DJT, pack your stuff. This is for entertainment purposes only. We're coming up here on a break, but they have a special promotion good for only one day, January 20th, 2021. It's only good for people moving from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Call the Jim, James, Paul, and Tyrone Moving Company, okay, at 1-866, call Tyrone, and we'll even let you use an Obama phone. You listen to the Avenue Network Show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Are we clear? Are we on break? Stand by, everybody. I'm having problems with my main laptop, so I got to broadcast from the second laptop. How's everybody doing? Stand by. Kevin, are we on break? I don't hear anything. All right, stand by, everybody. How's everybody doing? I'm having problems with the first laptop. I'm trying to hope the hard drive didn't crash. I got to figure this out with the first laptop. How's everybody doing? Can y'all hear me? Stand by, everybody. All right, hey, if y'all like, are we back from break? Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Friday, January 8th, 2021. And we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. We're broadcasting on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and a YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. If you like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ TheAHN Show through Cash App, $ TheAHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/TheAHN Show, or at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Also, all of my DVD lectures are at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and digital downloads. We'll be shipping out a lot of orders this weekend. That helps us to keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, finance the research, etc. Okay. So right before the break, we were talking about growing calls for impeachment of one Donald John Trump. And if Republicans in the U.S. Senate had done their job, in February 2020, we wouldn't have to be dealing with this stuff right now. But, you had cowards, just to put it politely. So Nancy Pelosi is calling for impeachment. We see growing calls for impeachment and calls for Trump to resign as well. And there's an article from NBC News. Pelosi says House will move forward with Trump impeachment motion if he doesn't resign. Pelosi says House will move forward with Trump impeachment motion if he doesn't resign. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said in a statement on Friday that the House is prepared to move forward with articles of impeachment against Trump in the wake of the violence at the U.S. Capitol building if he does not resign. She said, quote, "It is the hope of the members that the president will immediately resign. But if he does not, I have instructed the Rules Committee to be prepared to move forward with Congressman Jamie Raskin's 25th Amendment legislation and a motion for impeachment. Accordingly, the House will preserve every option, including the 25th Amendment, a motion to impeach, or a privileged resolution for impeachment." Now, I want to go to this clip here. We're going to go to clip, whatever clip this is, whatever number it is. This is from MSNBC. This is dealing with the articles of impeachment, because articles of impeachment are going to be introduced on Monday. So let's go to clip 2. This is from Deadline White House MSNBC. First look at the article of impeachment drafted against Trump for incitement of insurrection. Let's go to this clip, Kevin.
Opportunity to impeach him. I'm going to read you, Heidi, from the one article of impeachment. Resolved that Donald Trump, President of the United States, is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors, and that the following article of impeachment be exhibited to the United States Senate. In his conduct of the office of the President of the United States and in violation of his constitutional oath faithfully to execute the office of President of the United States and to the best of his ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and in violation of his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, Donald Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by willfully inciting violence against the government of the United States of America. Goes on to detail how he incited that deadly mob. 5 people now lost their lives. Quote, he also willfully made statements that encouraged and foreseeably resulted in imminent lawless action at the Capitol. Incited by President Trump, a mob unlawfully breached the Capitol, injured law enforcement personnel, menaced members of Congress and the Vice President, interfered with the joint session's solemn constitutional duty to certify the election results, and engaged in violent, deadly, destructive, and seditious acts. Heidi Pescala. Nicole, this is a pretty narrow article, and this may not be the final product. We're told right now these are only Democrats signing on to this. I know from my own reporting there is a group of Democrats trying to get Republicans like Adam Kinzinger, who's also come out against the president, to sign on, but they're dealing with a lot of Republicans who supported this effort in the first place in the House. Now, that doesn't mean they don't have the votes there, but it also comes at the same time that the Department of Justice is now saying they're not going to pursue charges based on basically the same type of charges that are being made here in this one article. So it is still to be determined what exactly this will look like on Monday, if they will add additional examples in here, like the phone call that he had with the Georgia Secretary of State, whether they will get more Republicans to sign on. But I can tell you this, Nicole, based on my own reporting, that no matter how this ends, even if they succeed in getting this article passed or some other article passed here in the House and it falls flat in the Senate, which it may very well do, because we've already heard from Senator Romney saying that he thinks that this should just play out, that President should just go, and doesn't necessarily support this. But no matter how it ends, again, Democrats feel such pressure to at least go through this exercise, given everything that this nation has seen, and then for people to see not just the instigators and the protagonists here, that this would be unpunished and left without any kind of even a slap on the wrist. They feel compelled. They've got to do this. They've got to at least begin this process. It began, Nicole, really as a threat to try to get the cabinet to do something, to try to get Mike Pence to do something, but it's become clear in the past 24 hours that is not going to happen, with Pence not even taking the speaker's call initially when she called him. So this will play out on Monday, but they're going to definitely at least go through the exercises and the steps here.
Okay, so that's from MSNBC. Check out that clip. That's from Deadline White House with Nicole Wallace. First look at the article of impeachment drafted against Trump for incitement of insurrection. Okay. Now, so stay tuned for that. Also, NBC News has a good article. Pelosi says House will move forward with Trump impeachment motion if he doesn't resign. Pelosi says House will move forward with Trump impeachment motion if he doesn't resign. Okay. So you have House Democratic leaders are eyeing a vote on articles of impeachment against Donald Trump as early as the middle of next week, but I'm hearing as early as Monday. Well, introducing articles of impeachment as early as Monday. House Speaker Catherine Clark said on Friday, she said, quote, "We know that we have limited time, but that every day that Donald Trump is president of the United States is a day of grave danger. So we can use procedural tools to get articles of impeachment to the floor for a House vote quickly." She said this on CNN's New Day. Once again, everybody, this is an example of how elections have consequences. A lot of these dumbasses who told you in 2016, who was on social media telling black people don't vote, things like this, if they still have accounts that are still up, if they were real people, okay, that's just nonsense. This is an example of how elections have consequences and what happens when you let somebody who has dictatorship tendencies, who is mentally unfit to be president, who is a white supremacist, who encourages and stokes white supremacy and uses social media to rally white supremacists to attack whoever they want to rally them to attack. This is what happens. So if we look at Twitter has finally banned Donald Trump from Twitter permanently. What took you so long? Trump was one of the biggest purveyors of retweeting of white supremacists. When it comes to people who have large Twitter accounts, he has like 100 million followers on Twitter. Okay, and I follow them on Twitter not because I read his tweets, but because I'm in media. So I follow him. So when I need to see what he's talking about, and that's very rare, I rarely go to his Twitter page, but I go because I'm in media. So if I need to see what he's talking about, I do that. But his account has been suspended. Good. Twitter permanently suspends Donald Trump. Twitter said in a statement after close review of recent tweets from the @RealDonaldTrump account and the context around them, we have permanently suspended the account due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Twitter's official safety account tweeted. So if we look at this article, now they cited his tweets in recent days, going back to January 6th, because if you look at what he tweeted prior to January 6th, it was leading up to the rally on January 6th. All right. And it was leading up to the attack that took place. So, for instance, if we go back and we look at what date is this? This is January 6th. No, there was one before then where he said this is going to be great. Okay, we look at January. So on December 30th, 2020, he tweeted, January 6th, see you in DC. One of the real tweets that a lot of people are talking about is from December 18th, 2020. He tweeted, Peter Navarro, who is one of his economic policy advisors, who's a quack, an idiot, Peter Navarro. Peter Navarro releases 36-page report alleging election fraud, more than sufficient to swing victory to Trump. A great report by Peter, statistically impossible to have lost the 2020 election. Big protests in DC on January 6th. Be there, will be wild. This is what he tweeted. December 20th. He tweeted, the Justice Department and the FBI have done nothing about the 2020 presidential election fraud, the biggest scam in our nation's history. Just a bunch of nonsense, okay? So Twitter finally did the right thing after 5 people died associated with the insurrection that took place at the U.S. Capitol building. After that took place, then they suspend his account. Twitter permanently suspended Donald Trump's account on Friday, citing, quote, the risk of further incitement of violence, end quote. You know, just took 5 people to die. Come, Twitter, it's been 4 years. Jack Dorsey, it's been 4 years. People have been calling for him to be banned on Twitter like me. I've been calling for him to be banned on Twitter for some time now. The president's account with 88 million followers was initially banned for 12 hours on Wednesday, January 6th, due to, quote, severe violations of our civic integrity policy, end quote. After Trump used the platform to condemn Vice President Mike Pence and his supporters stormed the Capitol. So if you go back and look at that, look at Trump at that little rally, Trump at the rally and even before the rally was putting pressure on Vice President Mike Pence to throw out electoral college votes from certain swing states to steal the election for Trump. Mike Pence told Trump, I don't have the authority to do that. When you have the joint session of the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate to certify the election results of the Electoral College, that's ceremonial, that's performative. The vice president does not have the authority to overturn the results of the Electoral College. Now, in the clip that I played on yesterday's show, Thursday's show, you had Mitch McConnell, and this was from Wednesday. This was from the clip was from Wednesday, probably around 1 p.m. before the thugs went to the U.S. Capitol for the insurrection. Mitch McConnell's on the U.S. Senate floor, and he tells, and he's talking to, he's addressing the Senate, and he says most of us on this aisle, referring to his Republican colleagues, have defended the Electoral College. Now that your candidate loses, now you want to overturn or overrule the votes of the Electoral College, but you usually defend the Electoral College. Read the article from the New York Times. He talked about this yesterday. Trump is said, well, you can read this one. This is not the one I was looking for. Trump is said to have discussed pardoning himself. This is from January 7th, 2021. That's not the one I was looking for. I was looking for the one. There was one from New York Times. Mike Pence said that Mike Pence told Trump he does not have the authority to overturn election results. I'm not sure if we have that one here, but it was, I think it was New York Times. Check that one out. Okay, now, let's continue here. So Twitter has permanently banned Trump. Twitter went on to say, quote, after close review of recent tweets from the @RealDonaldTrump account and the context around them, we have permanently suspended the account due to the risk of further incitement of violence, the company said in the tweet. Almost immediately, the account that Trump has used for years to convey his every thought, to denounce his enemies and praise his friends and retweet conspiracy theories and retweet posts from white supremacists, okay? Almost immediately, those tweets simply disappeared. It was suddenly impossible to see his previous tweets or even to see his reaction to Twitter's decision. Instead, his empty account had been marked account suspended. Now, I want to go to this clip here. We're going to go to a clip from the Readout with Joanne Reed. This is clip number 3, Kevin. Joy Reid Twitter is shutting Trump the hell up with permanent suspension. Okay, let's go to this clip.
Breaking news tonight. After thousands of 280-character communications to his tens of millions of followers that range from stupid and juvenile to lying and frankly dangerous, Donald Trump has been stripped of the precious. Jack and company have now permanently suspended Trump's Twitter account, finally accomplishing something three wives, multiple legal people who are suing him, and his entire White House staff has failed to do. Shutting him the hell up. Twitter cited the risk of further incitement of violence in finally taking action. So Ferguson is sort of...
What happened? Is that the end of it? Okay, I think that was the end of the clip. Okay. All right, so we have that, there is a God. Trump is off Twitter. Now he's using Parler, and you have a lot of the white supremacists who left Twitter, left Facebook, they've gone to Parler. Apple has put Parler on notice. There was an article I brought this up on Roland Martin Unfiltered today. We'll go to that clip. Just bear with me. Some technical issues here. But on Parler, the App Store is giving Parler 24 hours. Let me pull up this. Let me try to pull this up here. How's everybody doing watching on social media platforms? Let's see here. There was one story that we got. Okay, BuzzFeed News has this. This has been a very, very busy news day. We had all these breaking news stories today. I had to do Roland Show. We ended up doing 2.5 on Roland Show today. Then I had to give it for this show tonight. Apple has tended to ban Parler from App Store. Parler. This is the new white supremacist social media platform where they got a bunch of Negroes, some Negroes on there who are Trump supporters also. Apple has threatened to ban Parler from the App Store. The social networking app by conservatives has been given 24 hours to institute a moderation policy. The social networking app favored by conservatives has been given 24 hours to institute a moderation policy. Okay, well, I guess from my understanding, this is where like the white supremacists went, a lot of the white supremacists. So you still have conservatives on Facebook, but I mean, maybe you do have some good people on Parler, I guess. I don't know. Apple has given Parler, social network favored by conservatives and extremists, an ultimatum to implement a full moderation plan of its platform within the next 24 hours or face expulsion from the App Store. In an email sent this morning and obtained by BuzzFeed News, Apple wrote to Parler's executives that there had been complaints that the service had been used to plan and coordinate the storming of the U.S. Capitol by President Donald Trump supporters on Wednesday, January 6, 2021. The insurrection left 5 people dead, including a Capitol Hill police officer. We'll talk about that story in just a minute. I did a special broadcast on Thursday night after our show ended. I got the story broke that the Capitol Hill police officer had died. Okay. Now, what I find very interesting is that wasn't the Republican Party supposed to be the party of law and order? Aren't they supposed to be the party of law and order? When Black Lives Matter activists were out protesting this summer and all this stuff, they were up there talking about law and order, defend the police, all this stuff. Why are your thugs attacking the police then? Trump. Why are these thugs? Why are these insurrectionists? Why are these traitors attacking the police? I thought y'all was supposed to be for law and order. Quote, we have received numerous complaints regarding objectionable content in your Parler service, accusations that the Parler app was used to plan, coordinate, and facilitate the illegal activities in Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021. So that led, among other things, to loss of life, numerous injuries, and the destruction of property, Apple wrote to Parler. They went on to say the app also appears to continue to be used to plan and facilitate yet further illegal and dangerous activities. Because these white supremacists, said they're coming back for the Biden-Harris inauguration. They said they're coming back January 20th for the Biden-Harris inauguration. Now, what's important to understand is that these white supremacists had been plotting and organizing and communicating with one another on these social media platforms like Parler and planning the insurrection that took place January 6th. So all this is being exposed. So now my thing is, why the hell didn't you shut this stuff down before January 6th? Because you saw them planning. You saw them plotting this stuff. Why didn't you shut it down? I bet you Black Lives Matter was planning some stuff like that. I bet you it would have been shut down long before something like that manifested itself. They would have been arrested by the FBI, all types of stuff like that. So there's a whole investigation that's going to take place to say, wait a second, why didn't the FBI arrest these people ahead of time? How did it get to that point? How to get to that point where we saw January 6th when they're planning on social media? If we look at this article here from NBCnews.com, and we're going to go to this clip from Roland Martin Unfiltered in just a second, Kevin. We'll go to this clip 1, I think it is. If we look at this,
I got it queued up for you.
Okay, thanks. If we look at this article here from NBCnews.com, right-wing extremists vow to return to Washington for Joe Biden's inauguration. Quote, we will come in numbers that no standing army or police agency can match, end quote, wrote a popular Parler user who frequently posts about QAnon. Did they go arrest his ass? They're not going there to, they're not going there to support the Biden administration. They're not going there in peace. Okay, so this is Parler. So the App Store is giving them 24 hours to start moderating the content on their platform. In the wake, now this article is from January 8th, 2021. In the wake of Wednesday's riot at the Capitol, Trump supporters with extremist views feel emboldened and are vowing to return to Washington for the upcoming inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris on January 20th, 2021, using online platforms to rally each other. Now, I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that because somebody voted for Trump, that means they are one of these extremists. I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. But those extremists that showed up, they all support Trump. Those extremists that showed up and they were climbing up the walls and they were damaging property and breaking property. Now, remember back during the summer when you had the Black Lives Matter protests and Trump was complaining about, Trump said he wanted to protect federal courthouses and things like this. Trump signed, I think it was an executive order that Trump signed. It's like a 10-year 10-year prison sentence for people who attack federal property, things like that. Well, what do those thugs just do? What do? Quote, many of us will return on January 19, 2021, carrying our weapons in support of our nation's resolve, to which the world will never forget. We will come in numbers that no standing army or police agency can match, wrote a Parler user, who frequently posts about QAnon and is being tracked by the Anti-Defamation League. Okay, now once you track him, you gonna arrest this fool? I'm just asking, because if he was black, I'm telling you right now, if he was black, we'd know his name, his address, his mama's maiden name. We'd know what he looks like. We know where he went to school. We know where he went to elementary school, middle school, high school, his first job. I mean, now once you track him, you gonna arrest him? I just want to know. Let me know. Okay, you gonna arrest him? You gonna shut down his accounts, social media accounts with it, or you just gonna let him show up and show out on January 20th? He said he's the return on January 19th. That's the day before the inauguration. Parler, Telegram chat rooms, and the platform the Donald.win were all used to plan and coordinate the January 6th rally, January 6, 2021 rally that turned into a riot. No, it was an insurrection. They call it a riot. No, it was an insurrection. Posters explicitly stated their intentions to quote unquote occupy the Capitol. QAnon conspiracy theorists and people associated with militia groups had a visible presence in Wednesday's crowd. Now, they've been arresting a lot of these idiots. There's at least 55 of them that have been arrested. And then the one idiot who had his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk, he's been arrested. He's been charged also. There's an article from NBC News about that. So they're going through plastic these people's faces on media across the country, as well. More arrests coming. There was an article from TheHill.com from the one from The Hill was from the 7th, and we posted this article here from Hill. This dealt with 55 people at the time. 55 people had been arrested. Okay, I want to go to this clip here before we run out of time. This is I was on Roland Martin and Phil Council Martin and filtered each Friday. Talked about the insurrection that took place at the Capitol building. Before he spoke with Representative Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters was at the U.S. Capitol. She talked about what was going on. We're going to share excerpts of the interview with Representative Maxine Waters on my Sunday night show. We're on Sunday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time also. But here is, I'm going to go to this clip here of Roland and I talking about what took place. Let's go to this clip, Kevin.
I made a reference to William O'Neill. William O'Neill was the informant for the FBI, who was the right-hand man of Fred Hampton. He was the man who gave the officers in Chicago and the big attorney's office, gave them the floor plans of the house where Fred Hampton was and pinpointed exactly where Fred Hampton was sleeping, and was the one who gave Fred Hampton the drink and knocked him out as well. That is of concern, to have these Capitol police officers walking around with badges and guns, and they are there to protect members. Who said one of these folks doesn't go rogue and has to fire a bullet into a CC member because they stand with Trump in these domestic terrorists? This is the greatest concern that we have. And it's the same reason for the president. You know, the Secret Service is there to protect the president, and there's always that fear of an inside job. These people showed themselves. They showed exactly who they are on Wednesday.
Absolutely, and there has to be a thorough vetting of the U.S. Capitol Police. Just who are members of the U.S. Capitol Police. There has to be a thorough vetting of who are members of the U.S. Capitol Police. But if we go back for a minute to that article that you referenced from Associated Press, I talked about that article on my show last night. Capitol Police rejected offers of federal help to quell mob. So you have to add, when you connect that to Representative Steny Hoyer being in the basement in a bunker or something, contacting Governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, asking Larry Hogan to send in the National Guard, and it takes 90 minutes for Larry Hogan to get approval from Secretary of Defense of the Pentagon to send National Guard in. And then when you look at this article, second paragraph, it says, despite plenty of warnings of a possible insurrection and ample resources and time to prepare, the Capitol Police plans only for a free speech demonstration. But these people have been planning for weeks on social media, and they were planning an insurrection. It was out there in the open. So what made them think this is just going to be a free speech demonstration? So it's more than just I think it's more than just an inside job. There's something. I think it's multiple things happening at the same time with this. But this has to be fairly investigated. People need to be prosecuted. We already saw that U.S. Capitol Police Chief Stephen Hunt's son has announced he's resigning. Nancy Pelosi demanded his resignation. So, one thing's for certain, this can't happen again. And what's very interesting, brother, is the next day they had new barricades up, more personnel, more presence, military presence, things like that. Well, why didn't you have that 24 hours before? Because there was ample warning for weeks that this was going to take place.
Hey, pause it right there, Kevin. All right, so check out the broadcast from January 8th, 2021. Roland Martin Unfiltered. Roland Martin on YouTube, Roland Martin on Facebook. And we also shared the broadcast on our Facebook page, The African History Network. Read the article from Associated Press. We talked about it on yesterday's show. Capitol Police rejected offers of federal help to quell mob. Capitol Police rejected offers of federal help to quell mob. This is from January 7th, 2021, Associated Press. And then the article from TheAHNShow.com, I was looking for federal prosecutors bring charges against 55 following Capitol riot. That's from TheAHNShow.com, January 7th, 2021. And then, okay, we're out of time here. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching. We're going to keep broadcasting. We're out of time here on 910 AM, the Superstation. Remember, right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you Sunday night. Peace. Okay, everybody, let's continue here. We do 1 hour on 910 AM, the Superstation WFDF, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight. I was having problems with my main laptop, so I had to broadcast from the backup laptop. I'm recording this also with HD video camera. So we'll get the edited version. We'll get all this up and running. We'll be running rebroadcasts of our shows this weekend. Okay, how's everybody doing? If you'd like this type of information, also, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. So I think I'm gonna have to get this computer as well. African business owners, email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com, customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network also. Okay, so you had a Capitol Hill police officer who has died of his injuries, Officer Brian Sicknick. He died of injuries fighting against these Trump supporters at the U.S. Capitol. This is from January 8th, 2021. I did a special broadcast when I got off the air last night. This story broke, so I did a special broadcast about this. A U.S. Capitol police officer died Thursday, January 7th, 2021, after being injured in clashes with pro-Trump rioters in the Capitol the day before. Officer Brian Sicknick was injured while physically engaging with protesters Wednesday, January 6th, and returned to his division, where he collapsed, Capitol Police spokeswoman Eva Malecki said in a statement. He was taken to a hospital where he died about 9:30 p.m. on Thursday. Now, Officer Brian Sicknick, who joined the Capitol Police in 2008, is the fifth person to die from Wednesday's violent clash in Washington, D.C. His death will be investigated by the Metropolitan Police Department in Washington, the statement said, as well as the Capitol Police and federal agencies. Officer Brian Sicknick most recently served in the Capitol Police Department's first responders unit, the statement said. Now, Capitol Police fatally shot an Air Force veteran and who was an ardent Trump supporter who was part of the mob that made it into the building. 3 other people died in medical emergencies after the riot, officials said. Capitol Police officials, however, have not released many details about the circumstances of these other deaths. News of the officer's death comes shortly after Capitol Police Chief Stephen Sund, S-U-N-D, resigned amid criticism of the department's response to rioters who broke through barricades, vandalized the building, and clashed with police. Sund's resignation will go into effect January 16th, a few days before President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration, a police spokeswoman said Thursday. The head of the department's union also called for a change at the top. Okay, now, from what I'm understanding of this, and the blackamericaweb.com has an article dealing with this. He was hit in the head with a fire extinguisher. Okay, that's why he died. Details are emerging about the death of a police officer who died from injuries sustained during a coup attempt by right-wing domestic terrorists on Wednesday. Okay, so this Black America, I love blackamericaweb.com. They're calling it a coup attempt and call them right-wing domestic terrorists because NBC News is too polite. Let's see. All right, he was Officer Brian Sicknick was an Iraq War veteran. He was, quote, reportedly bludgeoned with a fire extinguisher during the siege of the Capitol, end quote, according to a tweet from Politico reporter Ryan Lizza, who tweeted this Thursday night. He added that Sicknick's death, quote, will be investigated as a homicide, end quote. After being repeatedly struck by the fire extinguisher, Officer Brian Sicknick returned to the police station where he collapsed before dying overnight. After seeing video footage of the violence being waged by the domestic terrorists who illegally entered the U.S. Capitol before trashing its offices and grounds in purported protest of baseless claims of election fraud, it was not far-fetched to believe that Officer Brian Sicknick was attacked in such a manner. Now, most of these idiots actually believed Trump when Trump said something to the effect that Mike Pence was going to help Trump win the election and throw out electoral college votes from certain battleground states and help Trump stay in office. These dumbasses actually believe that. Pence doesn't have that authority to do that. And now a lot of them are mad at Pence for not doing that. He didn't have the authority in the first place. These are people who have never read the U.S. Constitution, or if they read it, they don't understand what the hell they read. These are idiots. But Trump is preying on them. And Trump has raised over $250 million since the November 3rd election lying to them and telling them that we need you to donate money so we can file these lawsuits to overturn the results of this election. The election was stolen from us, all this nonsense. Okay, lastly, early January of 1923 was the Rosewood Massacre in Rosewood, Florida. And we'll probably talk about this some more on Sunday show. But Equal Justice Initiative, EJI.org, has an article, White Mob Destroys Black Community of Rosewood, Florida, January 5th, 1923. A mob of over 200 white men attacked the Black community in Rosewood, Florida, killing over 30 African-American women, men, and children, burning the town to the ground and forcing all survivors to permanently flee Rosewood. On January 1st, 1923, in Sumner, Florida, a young married white woman named Fannie Taylor claimed that she had been assaulted by an African-American man named Jesse Hunter, who was a fugitive from a prison chain gang, okay? Though there was no evidence against Jesse Hunter, local white men launched a manhunt in Rosewood, a nearby town of about 200 African Americans. On January 2nd, a mob of white men kidnapped, tortured, and lynched Sam Carter, a Black craftsman from Rosewood, on suspicion that he had helped Jesse Hunter escape. Now, she was not assaulted by Jesse Hunter. What happened was she was cheating on her husband with another white man, and this white man beat her behind. She lied and said it was, and lied. What happened was she lied and said somebody broke into the house and assaulted her. Okay. The Jesse Hunter had escaped from a prison chain gang. So the local sheriff and like some of the people there suspected it was Jesse Hunter. So they start looking for Jesse Hunter and they start attacking African Americans, asking, where's Jesse Hunter? When you watch the movie Rosewood, directed by John Singleton, you see now the character that Ving Rhames played of Man, that character is a fictitious character. It's probably a composite character. When you study the history of the Rosewood Massacre, and I've studied this history, Man doesn't exist. It was probably a composite of different actions that real life people did during that massacre, African American men. So it's probably a composite of a compilation of those actions, but the character of Man is fictitious. It doesn't exist. The movie is somewhat different than the actual historical events. It's still a good movie, but it's different than the actual historical events. So white men continued to terrorize Rosewood, searching for Jesse Hunter, and African American residents armed themselves in defense. Late on the night of January 4th, 1923, a white posse fired into the home of Black Rosewood resident Sylvester Carrier, who they suspected of harboring Jesse Hunter, and killed an elderly woman. A gunfight between Carrier and the mob lasted until the early morning, killing people on both sides. Outrage. So what happened was, in the movie Rosewood, Sylvester Carrier was portrayed by Don Cheadle. And at the end of the movie, Don Cheadle's character is riding out of town on a horse. Okay, and he's riding along the train. But that's not what happened. Sylvester Carrier was actually killed. Aunt Sarah, who was portrayed by Esther Rolle, Florida Evans from Good Times, Aunt Sarah was Sylvester Carrier's mother. Aunt Sarah was shot and killed on the porch. I think it was Sylvester Carrier's home. She's shot and killed on the porch. So then, the firefight breaks out. He and Sylvester Carrier ends up shooting 2 of the white deputies, and then he gets killed. So, outraged that African American residents had fought back, the posse left the scene to regroup and returned with more men. On January 5th, a mob of between 200 and 300 white men attacked Rosewood, killing an estimated 30 to 40 African American men, women, and children on sight and burning the town to the ground. African American residents hid in the woods and fled by train to Gainesville, Florida, never to return. Survivors later recounted that Fannie Taylor had made false accusations about Jesse Hunter to conceal her extramarital affair with the white man. So a white woman lied and African Americans died. Now, blackpast.org has an article dealing with the Rosewood Massacre as well. So the massacre was instigated by the rumor that a white woman, Fannie Taylor, had been sexually assaulted by a black man. Now, by a black man in her home in a nearby community. Prior to the event, a series of incidents had stirred racial tensions within Rosewood. In the winter of 1922, a white school teacher from Perry, Florida, had been murdered. And on New Year's Eve in 1922, there was a Ku Klux Klan rally held in Gainesville, Florida, located not far away from Rosewood. In response to the allegation by Fannie Taylor, white men began to search for Jesse Hunter, along with Aaron Carter and Sam Carter, who were believed to be accomplices. Sylvester Carrier was captured and incarcerated while Carter was lynched. The white mob suspected Aaron Carrier, not Carter. Aaron Carrier and Sam Carter were believed to be accomplices. Aaron Carrier was captured and incarcerated while Sam Carter was lynched. The white mob suspected Aaron Carrier's cousin, Sylvester Carrier, a resident of Rosewood, of harboring Jesse Hunter. So the initial report of the Rosewood incident, presented less than a month after the massacre, claimed there was insufficient evidence for prosecution. Thus, no one was charged with any of the Rosewood murders. In 1994, as the result of new evidence and renewed interest in the event, the Florida state legislature passed the Rosewood bill, which entitled the 9 living survivors, to $150,000 each in compensation. All right, so because now these African Americans in Rosewood, they owned land. Many of them were very prosperous, and they're all going to flee and leave their property behind. And in Rosewood, when you go study the story, Rosewood was wiped off the map. They not only ran African Americans out of the town and took their property, Rosewood was removed from the map also, Rosewood, Florida. So check out this article from blackpast.org, dealing with the Rosewood Massacre of 1923. All right, look, hey, we have to get out of here. If you'd like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ TheAHNShow through Cash App, $ TheAHNShow through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/TheAHNShow, paypal.me/TheAHNShow. And then also at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork. And then my DVD lectures are available at our website, our digital downloads. The online class that I teach is on demand, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Mahafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. All right. Okay, everybody, look, we have to get out of here. Remember the African History Network. We focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you Sunday. We're on Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. And then Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time also. Okay? Talk to y'all later. Peace. Thanks for tuning in.